Welcome to Biogas TV Live, Season 2, Episode 2. I'm Paul Green. I run a biogas advisory business. I'm pleased to be joined by my co-host, Alex McFarland with RNG Connect, as always. And thanks for joining Biogas TV Live, the best half hour of your week. So you've all got invitations through the end of February for all of Season 2, and we just kind of announce day or two before speakers for that day. You can ask us questions as we go here in the Q&A. And today we're excited to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Bernie Sheff. Bernie is frequently seen as a key face of our industry. So let's get into it. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Plan ET Biogas. Plan ET is a global leader in the supply of CSTR digesters for all applications. Whether it's for ag, food waste, dairy, poultry, or swine, Plan ET should always be among your first phone call. For competitive offerings, see www.planet-biogas.com. So Bernie's been at this biogas business for over 30 years, having put in his first digester in Western Michigan starting on 12/12/92. Did I get that?
91.
91.
12, 12, 91.
So close. He currently serves as chairman of the ABC, runs the operator school. And so with that, Bernie, welcome to Biogas TV.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And thank you to Planet T, our sponsor. Built a couple very nice projects with the folks there, some of my good friends. And thanks to all the folks. Boy, it's great to see all these names popping up here. I think I got a story for about 50% of the people on this call. So I hope we don't go down that path.
Is there Petit Syrah involved in all these stories, or no?
There would be more than one Petit Syrah, or the botanist, the good gin, could be, or it could just be a nice a good meal someplace. So
I'm pleased to keep Bernie amongst my rare air of cultured, civilized friends. So any tips you ever need on Petit Syrahs or a beautiful, freshly tailored men's suit, Bernie's the guy to hit up on anything to do with culture, and this is the way the civilized man rolls.
The finer things.
Yes, there's probably, I could reach over and grab it for you, but there's this month's Esquire magazine is over there in my bag. I travel with it. So, as much as you walk around in manure at times or food waste, it's always good to know you can put on a good suit and a fine glass of Chassel de Chassel, as it were. So
2025 was a tough year. It was our year to come up for air with a new president. We sprinted the end of 2024 to safe harbor on the ITC, but there are less shovels in the ground now compared to past years. So Bernie, I know you and I had an amazing time together during the peak dairy boom back in 2019. We put in a couple of awesome deals in the southwestern US where projects are like shooting fish in a barrel. We had $200 LCFS prices, but thanks for teaching me the difference between a scraper and a flusher and a heifer from a milker back then. I appreciate that.
Well, thanks, Paul. It was, it was it was a good time in the industry. 2025 was a body blow, and yet, all industries have to take a moment to resettle, redirect, and move forward. So I think I told you earlier, right? I mean, I'm from Detroit. If you're in Detroit, you'll see something. You'll see the brown bomber. You'll see his fist, Joe Louis. There, we're a tough bunch, and so I've tried to bring that. I shouldn't say try. We've brought that viewpoint on the world to the ABC that we're a tough bunch. That we'll take a shot, and we just keep moving forward. And so there's no give up. There's no step back. It's always forward. I'm very proud of what we were able to get on the PTC last year was phenomenal. I think it was. I'll tell you a little quick story. Went to I spoke at the I gave a speech at the World Biogas Summit in Birmingham, and I had people just flat had no idea who they were walking up saying that policy and that lobbying effort that you put in to pull that PTC through was some of the strongest work we've ever seen. And no idea who they were. They'd introduce and walk away. Sometimes I really couldn't understand them very well, but it was yeah, I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the Blitz. The biogas blitz was something that 2025 spurred and spawned, as it were, and it has been tremendous because one of the things that we got from the biogas blitz um, not only was a 10x in being on the hill and being up and down the halls, but more importantly, we did the polling. And anybody who's a biogas member, ABC member, or if you're not, we can get you, I can send it to you, show it to you. But the biogas splits and the polling that was done was some amazing stuff. And one of the most important things it showed that, you could swing the average voter 20% having some feel, 26% having some feel of some positivity towards biogas to almost 80% of the voters once they heard that we make power, that it's energy from waste, and that it makes a fertilizer. It was a story that people love to hear. So some really important stuff last year. So as you said, it was a bit of a year of recentering and refocusing, and yet, I think we we got everything out of it we could. It's not saying anything's going to be more easy this year, but we're just going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep focusing. Obviously, the IMO, and we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hey, Bernie, question for you. You mentioned the biogas blitz. Could you maybe just a little bit of the nuts and bolts in terms of how that went down, how many folks you had, what were the objectives, who were you trying to meet with, how you
yeah,
thought about that whole thing?
yeah. So what happened was um, actually the original name of it was carpet bombing, and Heather from the ABC said, Bernie, stop. I think we're going to rename it the Biogas Blitz. And so Heather came up with the name of the Biogas Blitz. So what we did is we did something the ABC's never done. I mean, basically at the ABC, you pay your dues, you pay your annual fee, and you're done. You don't pay anything else. We went back to all of our members and we said, look, we want to do a 10x. We realize the administration's changed. We realize things are going to be tougher. We're going to have to, get out to more people and tell our story. And so we went to our members. Waste was WM was the largest investor in it, but Burns and McDonnell put money in. U.S. Red put money in. U.S. Energy. I'm going to miss somebody, and I'm going to feel terrible about it. So I'm going to stop because I know that there were many others, but we had members put in as little as $500 or $1,000, and some members go up near 30, 40, 50,000. But we put a fund together. We did a 10x of our time to be spent on the Hill and our efforts there. And so every other week, Heather or myself or us together and Alicia and our lobbying team and AJW, we redoubled their efforts, and it was just a complete no stone left unturned. When I came up with the idea, and I'm going to take a little credit and then I'll stop. Sure, my mother's looking down, and if I say anything, if I boast, she'll come get me. So I'm going to stop right there. But I'll just say that, when we came up with this, our whole focus was that there should be no one walking up and down the halls of Congress who didn't know what biogas was, didn't know where it came from, didn't know what it did. And so thank you. We worked extremely hard. And Heather and our policy team, the AJW folks, they're amazing. I'm so proud of them. And Heather and Jonathan and Alicia, Melissa Bailey, right, our communications person, just fantastic. Patrick,
Melissa,
obviously holding the tiller, in the direction and keeping us on course. And constantly slowing Brian Sievers and I down. I think I had marks at the end of the year last year for red marks from getting the halter pulled back. The uh, getting the bit pulled back in my mouth of slow down, slow down. We got we can only go so fast. So but anyway, I was very proud of that, and that was and if there's a mini blitz to come in this year, maybe. Let's see what we obviously know the IMO is huge, right? And the IMO is big. It took a bit of a body blow the end of last year, but again, when you when you lived in Detroit, right, and you see the fist every day, it's because you can take a body blow and get back up. So we're going to keep swinging. We've done something. The ABC's done something really special, I think, and it really was. It started with Brian Sievers and myself and Natalie Hoffman. Were down in Brazil speaking at the Brazilian A Biogas, and spoke down there, had some conversations, saw that there was an area that maybe that we needed to look at and cantilever off of. I have a very dear friend in Harmon Decker, who's the chairman of the executive director of the European Biogas Association. They represent 51 industry groups in Europe. And we talked to Jennifer Green with the Canadian Biogas Association. And we put together something called the UBA, the United Biogas Association Alliance. I'm sorry, United Bio. My own group, and I forgot it. United Biogas Alliance, and it's really something else. We get together every week. We've got this gives us some real sight. We've got Lars from the Danish Biogas Association, shoulder to shoulder with him and Harmon and all the folks in the European group. Obviously, what's going on in Brazil, and we're working very hard to make sure that the message goes out direct, and that we're all together and we're all saying the same things from the same pulpit, and we're getting the same messages out. You're going to see some things coming out here shortly. Hope I don't run out of time, but because Paulie wanted me to talk about technical stuff too, but I'm so excited about this one thing. They have these commercials that you'll see in Europe where they have a farmer and they'll hand them a key, and they get this key and they get like a minute to talk about, while they're holding the key, to talk about how they're putting renewable natural gas into the pipeline with their food waste or their silage or their whatever they're using to make, to put gas into the pipeline. And we're going to now start having where that farmer, say in Spain, or that person in Spain hands that over, and there's the folks at a food waste digester in Maryland are going to grab that up, and it's going to have an American flag on it, and they're going to tell their story, and then they're going to hand it off to somebody in the middle of the U.S. at a facility, and then it'll be handed back to somebody in.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and it'll all end with a ship moving across the ocean, running on LNG.
Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, we often are lamenting that biogas needs a lot more respect. That in terms of you get a politician who'll say, "Oh, renewables like wind and solar," and you're going, don't forget us. And it's already made such a huge impact. And then we also see it's been a topic here that we've battered around a little bit, is like there's a fair amount of misinformation too about biogas, especially with food waste and other things. And so to the extent that you're educating folks about what it is and the benefits, and try to head some of that off at the pass, but there is a lot of nonsense out there too. So
yeah, I tell anybody I'm around, and I'll tell this group here, take that opportunity. I was out fishing in the Keys on Saturday, and on the boat was a guy that I hadn't fished with before, a buddy of mine's friend, and he got the speech on the ride back in. He got 15 minutes of what biogas is, what it does, and the next thing you know, he wants an American Biogas Council hat because he's so hepped up on it. And he's like, "You got to be kidding me! This is opportunity, and we don't know about it." A dentist out of northern Miami. So
So one thing
again,
we can take from this meeting, from this, is the 72 folks on here become evangelists, right? For
I
our
I
industry, let folks know what it is.
Or at
You
least
know,
I
ABC members. Here's a shameless plug to join the ABC, right?
join the
uh,
ABC.
yeah, this is your opportunity. Absolutely, do not allow that opportunity to sit in the plane next to someone for an hour, or sit on the bus, or down here at the lunch counter, to not take a couple minutes and say, hey, you know what, that food waste right there could be
Yeah.
energy. That's
Yeah.
potential energy. So constantly talking about potential energy. We had last week, there was quite a shot that some folks took at sent some stuff to USDA to try and throw shade on digesters. And AB's in there. We're in there. We're swinging. We're in there. We're on it. We're engaging. Um, so we're just going to keep fighting.
So I think we may be preaching to the choir a little bit with the insiders on this call, and I'm wondering about a sensitive topic that is cost. So had a very curious, a bit distressing call last week with an industry insider, and we talked about we're not picking up a lot of efficiencies. We're not drilling into our costs. We're actually getting more expensive. And as we think about those graphs, right? Wind and solar, that cost per kW keeps going down, down, down. But that doesn't seem to be happening with biogas. And in fact, the whole political side of things and the tariffs, I mean, we all are leaning on Europe extremely aggressively all the time when it comes to helping us with some of the high value added controls, automation, mixers. Some back of the napkin numbers I was looking at this morning. It's something like, pick a number, $300 per MMBTU to build a food waste project. But if we can't get that down, are we going to succeed? I know, like food waste jobs, you've got to compete with landfills. I just wonder, trade associations talking about cost is a prickly topic, right? Because you can't price fix, you can't collude. But I just wonder, does anybody think, is there anything more the industry should be doing at looking at our costs, and can we get our costs down? Or is this uncertainty about tariffs and all the incentives, or are we just is everybody just kind of left to do their own thing and work on their own? This is my thing. This is my approach. These are my costs. I know at biogas plants, they're complex in terms of a lot of low value added stuff, a lot of concrete, a lot of rebar, a lot of steel. But then you got a lot of high value added stuff with all the instrumentation, all the controls and automation. And a lot of people were pushed to get a US supply chain going to comply with the ITC. But I don't know, Bernie, Alex, you got any thoughts on, can we get our
I'd,
costs
I'd
down in
love to
any
hear from
way?
Bernie on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the outlook likes.
Well, okay. So I'm going to say a few things, and I hope I don't. You might not agree with me fully, but I'm afraid as far as costs. I mean, I think we need to work much harder in simplifying systems. We've got to start simplifying systems more. I get involved so many times with projects that are just so complicated, or so many pieces involved, and 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 so many extra pumps and extra things. Now, I'm always there for the N+1. Don't get me wrong, but I I also I get pulled in a lot on projects where I just think this could have been done a lot simpler. I think that I think we've got a couple other things that we're going to have to work through, Paul and Alex, and I think it's on the operations side, and we have some projects that that were that were built. I'm trying to find the best words here, maybe without completely understanding something, and I'm just want to back up for a minute. If you're at a dairy farm, all the energy, your potential energy is in that manure. That's where it's at. And if you thin that manure out and then you thin it out, you can't just take part of it and put it in a digester. You have to somehow get all of it. So, I look at projects that might have a CSTR or might have a mixed plug flow, putting a covered lagoon downstream where you're constantly failing forward. I think that there's been some projects built, unfortunately, and they've been very high cost and they have very high operating. And I get a phone call saying, can you fix this? And my only response is the only way I can fix this is to make it fail forward, to get every bit of energy into that system, because overflows and trying to run a very complex systems on the upstream, when number one, separate the dairy from the digester so that there's one handoff point, and that the dairy's operation is not dependent on that digester, so that they can do their thing, that the digester can do its thing, that you fail forward into something that will in the end get all the energy out. So those are some things that I think we can start to do as an industry to start fixing some of these that and covering the lagoons, not that tough, and it's not that expensive, and it all of a sudden starts you can start to get these systems under control. So the projects that one way or the other, energy's getting out of the system. You got to realize once you dilute that manure, all that energy has then been diluted out across that. So, it's like putting when I teach this course, the substrate is potential energy course, I always say it's like putting that sugar cube in the coffee in the morning. The only way to get all the energy is to drink the whole cup of coffee, because you're not, you can't then take half of it and put it over here and drink that piece. So it's it's always it's that 1 quart jar of energy drink you drink every morning, but if you mixed it up into 3 quart jars, you got to drink all three to get the energy out of it. So it's there's a lot of challenges there. There's projects I think that have been high cost and that are high operating costs across the board, not in the ag world, but there's across the board that I think, and then there's some really good jobs too. And we need to work on those ones that are maybe a little challenged, get them fixed, get them up on all 4 legs and get them moving forward. And we can, I think, have a better run of it.
I know the cost question is a little bit frightening. If anybody on the call here wants to pick up on that conversation, hit me up. I'm not scared to let's peel away at that onion if you guys want to take a look at it. So
Yeah,
thanks, Bernie, as we kind of wind down a little bit on your portion. So the industry is going to gather in your hometown. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. You had no influence over that, right?
no interest at all.
Yeah.
No impact at all. And everybody on here, you're all invited to go fishing. We're going to have a fishing trip. Going to go out on Lake St. Clair.
When are we here now? We're May,
Oh,
whatever. It's in May.
I should know it. Yeah, it's in May. You'd think I'd know it, but
Yeah.
going to go fishing. Come up, go fishing with me. We're going to catch walleyes and perch, and then stop at the famous Detroit restaurant Sinbad's. They do a catch and cook there for us. We'll have a big
nice.
walleye fry and then head back down. But it's going to be a heck of a show. We're in Motown. There's a lot of it's a foodie city. If you haven't been there, I'm still smiling from the fact I took the board of directors of the ABC there, and walking along Woodward Avenue there in the evening, everybody's like, I cannot believe this is Detroit. I didn't. So you're going to love it.
Can't wait. Can't wait to go.
You're going to have a blast. So please come. Please come
Any good
fishing with me.
dive bar tips for us or
Oh,
restaurant tips or no?
I
Yeah,
know that city. I know
yeah.
that city well. I'll be more than happy. There's a great old beer garden. It's the oldest bar in the city. That's a fantastic opportunity. There's just too many. There's too much fun to be had in a short period of time. So,
Nice.
um, please come see me. We're gonna have a heck of a time. We really are.
Well, great to see you. Thank you, ABC, for your support of Biogas TV. And we'll see you in Detroit. And thank you for your wisdom and your service, Bernie.
Thank you, my friend, and thank you for everything you do. Paul's one of my dear friends, and I know I say that a lot. I can go down this list. I see Scott there, and all of the dear friends that I see. Um, I've really been blessed. Probably been blessed more than any person deserves.
Yeah, good. All right, brother. All the best. We're going to look to Drew here for our off-take corner. But Bernie, you can stay for that, or you're welcome to go. But thanks again for your input here. So, how's it going, Drew?
It's going well. We're seeing some development in the market. To kind of quickly recap on some important dates, January 15th was the final day for comments to the Environmental and Climate Change Canada, the ECCC. We're being told that they're moving as fast as possible to set uh, new requirements and mechanisms in regards to either a credit multiplier or a minimum domestic content. The next date to keep an eye on there will be January 26th, as well as for the New Mexico Clean Fuel Program, January 22nd. And also keep your eye on data out of California on January 30th. Lastly, for 45Z, we're looking at February 24th as hopefully a deadline here for 45Z guidance. The big question is whether or not they will give us enough guidance to really move off of. Some of the previous guidance has been somewhat disappointing, use for May in places that we weren't hoping for, but those are the next dates to keep an eye on from a regulatory standpoint. And also on January 14th, we saw a release from the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore opening up additional applications opening up applications for additional licenses to supply liquefied natural gas as a marine fuel in the port of Singapore. This is an interesting and bullish indicator that Singapore has gotten the essentially the feedback that they will be needing to purchase more biomethane or more e-methane, and so we're seeing more of this tug of war between lower cost landfill gas type feedstocks or perhaps e-methane from certain regions that will be regionally constricted or have certain requirements such as ISCC. We're keeping an eye on that in places, especially as well in Colorado and a couple of other states. We are definitely seeing that D3 prices and D4 prices have been, D3 prices have been moving within this banded range of 238 to 240, but as D4 prices have slowly crept up in the last week, and we're seeing around $1.28, $1.29 trade. There's some strong indications that there's a bullish outlook for D3 as well. Again, as I kind of commented to you, that all really depends on the EPA and how they set reallocation for small refinery exemptions. There's also a little bit of risk that the EPA continues. We've seen a kind of a trend in the policy space across the EPA, 45Z, LCFS, CCAs. Just delay. We don't want to give an answer. We want to delay. Overall outlook seems to be bullish, but there are definitely some real world scenarios where we see some of these prices pull back. Interesting talking point as well. The California LCFS market seems to really be going to or getting some bites at it from the Canadian CFR market. And depending on how that plays out with the credit multiplier or domestic content, we've seen a strong shift and a strong desire to move supply to the Canadian market. We do, please do reach out. We do have some interested parties in both Canadian and California market looking for RNG at this time, especially low CI RNG projects. Some of these are immediate and some of these are more longer term, but happy to chat with anyone in that space.
Nice. Thanks, Drew. I'm going to wrap it here soon. Alex, any closing remarks?
Nope.
Nice. Well, enjoy your skiing today. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We're at time. Hopefully, this will be the best half hour of your entire week, and we will see you all a week from now. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.